Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a My 2 Cent video for this week, for the week of August 13th to the 19th, where I take a look at a couple of stories and give you my thoughts and my opinion about in terms of in the gaming world and all. And we got 4 stories to cover, including an interesting comment from THQ Nordic in regards of Dead Island 2 might be going to another platform. I do want to respond to the whole situation surrounding the release of Baldur 3, from what IGN's Destin did a video on, to the response we've been hearing from developers and raising the question of this raises a new standard when it comes to gaming and all. We'll also be talking about Starfield, as there were some questions about the game in terms of some people being a little nervous about them claiming has the game gotten gold yet? Although earlier this week we learned that it did, and of course reports of the possibility of a placeholder for the upcoming game Stalker 2, though, to determine whether this is an actual release date or not. If you're interested in where I got the source of these informations, though, links will be in the description of this video, assuming you're watching this on YouTube. But before we get started, I like to do what I like to call the quick My 2 Cents, stories that kind of caught my attention, but I'm not going to go into a huge amount of details and everything like that. The first one has to do with Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicle, as the producer has asked fans to trust them in terms of a new chapter that will happen, though. The series has sort of a following, as it first appeared on the GameCube, that made its way over to the Wii with the Crystal Bearer and all. There was a port onto the Nintendo Switch, but that got hammered for several reasons, though, and it's so bad that they had to pull it off the Nintendo off Australia's eShop, though, forcing the developers, Square Enix, to apologize and fix a lot of the problems and everything. I think it had to do with the online side of the situation, though, so we'll see if another entry in the Crystal Chronicles will happen or not. We also definitely have the file size for the Red Dead Redemption that's now out on the Nintendo Switch and the PS4, and it can be played on the PS5 via backwards compatibility. So last time I checked, I believe the file size was around, I think, 11 gigabytes or so, to be exact, which, if that's true, certainly not bad, though. I'm very curious to see what happens when they start to release the physical version, which is supposedly going to be out in October. And I'm very curious to see, is this going to be a case where they're going to put the full game into the Switch cartridge? Is it going to be, there's going to be part of the game and you have to download the rest? Or is it, God forbid, the empty box with just a paper with a code on it, which I think at that point it's like you might as well just buy the game through the Nintendo eShop and everything like that. As far as the game itself, based on what I've been seeing in terms of previews and reviews of it, it does seem like this was a good job in terms of a port job. It has nowhere near the level of basically what was the debacle in 2021 with Grand Theft Auto Trilogy Definitive Edition. That said, there is still debate over the whole idea of basically it being charged $50 when compared to where it is right now on the Xbox shop, where you could basically get it, like much cheaper and all. So there is certainly some debate whether or not it deserved the $50 price tag and all. And despite the boycott for the game, it seems to have shot up on the PlayStation charts in terms of sales and everything like that. So not sure if the boycott for this game is working in any shape or any form, but I am definitely going to keep my eye on it in terms of getting this game and everything. We also learned that Assassin's Creed Mirage release date supposedly has been pushed forward by a week, which certainly isn't bad for those who are looking forward to that game. We also learned that Switch port specialist Furrow Interactive is teasing the fact that they are working on 2 other games supposedly for the Nintendo Switch. No word on what those games may be, so we'll have to wait and see. It's worth pointing out this is the same team that did Grid Sports and, of course, Aliens Isolation on the Nintendo Switch, and I think they did one of the Tomb Raider games, not the Tomb Raider, like Rise of the Tomb Raider or anything like that. Just, I think it was sort of the top-down type of Lara Croft Tomb Raider game and all. So I am curious to see what kind of game or what kind of Switch port they might be working on. We also saw what basically, apparently, the huge sales for Tears of the Kingdom apparently upheld, Japan's GD or GPS or their economy in a way, kind of helped to a certain degree, though, which is kind of interesting and all, but you know what? Game is doing very well. It certainly is nice to see that the game's doing, like I said, very well and everything like that. So kind of interesting to see that happening and everything. And in the movie and TV side of the My Two Cents, we learned that the live-action Super Mario Bros. Movie back in 1983 will be getting a 4K anniversary screening in Japan. I mean, looking back at that movie, that was one of those, it's so bad, it's good, and everything like that. I mean, obviously it flopped at the box office, but it certainly has gained a cult following over the years and everything like that. And I think I remember hearing with the success of the Mario movie that happened this year, there has been some interest in looking at that live-action Super Mario Bros. Movie. We also saw basically a trailer or teaser trailer for Netflix's upcoming Scott Pilgrim series that they are basically working on, though. Judging from what they showed, it looks like the art style stays true to like the comics and everything like that. And supposedly a lot of the actors that were in the live-action Scott Pilgrim movie are going to be in this TV show and everything like that. I remember seeing the live-action one. I didn't know what to take of it at the time. I never read any of the Scott Pilgrim books or anything like that. Supposedly, it didn't do well at the box office, but it definitely gained a following, though, and there were fans who definitely enjoyed that movie and all. We also learned that The Last of Us HBO showrunner, that they're looking at the possibility of just doing, 4 seasons for The Last of Us, which certainly would be kind of interesting if that's the direction they decide to go. We know that I think Season 2 will focus on, The Last of Us Part 2, but I don't know if they're going to stretch that through all 3, stretch that through 3 seasons or not. So we'll see what happens with that one, though. We also learned that supposedly there are reports that a Jack and Daxter movie is being planned, and supposedly it will be live action. No word of this at this time if this is true or not, though, but we have seen Sony really push some of their IPs into like the big screen. Uncharted, despite getting some mixed reviews, seemed to have done very well at the box office. Gran Turismo, again, is getting some mixed reviews, but we'll see how well that one does, though. Obviously, the HBO Max, The Last of Us, has done very well, though. I'm not sure if a live-action Jack and Daxter would work. I personally think a more animated feature would have been a better choice or not. And it will be interesting to see if this one gains an audience or does as well as what we saw with the first 2 Sonic movies and the Mario movie, as well as that one did very well at the box office. We also learned that supposedly there has been some rumbling, some talks about the possibility of a second season of the Obi-Wan Kenobi miniseries, though. I definitely enjoyed that show, though. I thought that was pretty good and everything like that. And the way that one ended when basically Obi-Wan met the spirit, of Qui-Gon Jinn and all, I think it can open the door to a possibility of a second season in a way, because I remember reading how he entered a second apprentice under Qui-Gon Jinn and all that, so it's possible they could do a second season. Again, nothing is confirmed at this time, so we'll have to wait and see, and a lot of it obviously because of the writer and actor strike that's been going on lately. And last but not least, we do have supposedly some box office numbers at the time being for the Blue Beetle that recently just came out in theaters. According to the Hollywood Reporter, it's believed to be that the movie has earned $3.3 million in previews, with Stray following it at 1.1. It will be very interesting to see how well Blue Beetle does at the box office, particularly since it seems to be aiming for obviously a Latino crowd with the stars and people that they have in that movie and all. I mean, Warner Brothers, let's just say, some of their DC movies haven't exactly been doing hugely great. The Flash, unfortunately, did not perform very well at the box office, though, and I think some of that may be because of how Warner Brothers and DC are kind of rebooting the whole DC universe, a cinematic universe, with James Gunn at the helm. So we'll see how well Blue Beetle does. Maybe that won't do as well. Maybe it will do well at the box office. Maybe it won't. Eventually, time will tell us, see if it does well or not. Okay, with the Quick My 2 cent and the movie TV show part of it now done, we'll get started with our first story, and this one has to do with Stalker 2. Now, Stalker 2 is sort of a game that's kind of been put in a very, well, let's just say, tough position, to be exact though. This was a game that was announced back in 2021, and it was announced to be coming day one to the Xbox Series X and S and PC. It will be coming also, day one to Game Pass and everything like that. And for what they showed at the time though was actually kind of interesting, to be exact though. The whole idea of it taking place during, in the area of, where the Chernobyl nuclear disaster is and everything like that. So it sort of was an interesting premise and everything like that, and a game that I was definitely looking forward to trying. Now, originally the game was delayed into 2022. However, this was around the time when Russia started its invasion of Ukraine, and this put in a lot of questions about that game, particularly the safety of the staff and everything like that. We learned eventually that some of the staff members would eventually serve in the Ukraine Defense Force, fighting the Russian military and everything like that. But we also learned that some of their headquarters were moved to the Czech Republic and everything like that. And that led to the situation that it became very clear they could not release this game in 2022 based on the situation that was being handed to them, and the game got pushed into 2023. And there were questions of whether or not that game was able to meet its 2023 release date or anything like that. And we didn't really hear much about the whole situation with Stalker 2 outside of how a lot of them, they were recently hacked by supposedly Russian hackers and everything like that, and some information got dumped out on the internet and all. Well, we do know the fact that Stalker 2 will be supposedly at Gamescom, supposedly next week, but now we supposedly may have an official launch date or anything like that. Bear in mind, nothing's been confirmed at this time, but if this date actually holds, it could signal that the game could finally see the light and day. In an article from Video Games Chronicles, excuse me, it reads, quote, as spotted by VGC contributor Andrew Marno, distributor Playon, P-L-A-I-O-N-S, has updated its listing for Stalker 2 with a release date of December 1st. It's possible this isn't a placeholder since December 1st is set to land on a Friday this year. Additionally, developer CSG Game World recently confirmed that Stalker 2 will be playable for the first time at this month's GameCon show in Germany, potentially indicating that it's close to its release. The post-apocalyptic shooter is coming first to Xbox Series X and S and PC, and will be available on Game Pass at launch, though. According to what this person wrote on X, formerly known as Twitter, it reads that Payon and Aulx Media Store has listed Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl for December 1st, 2023 release. This is most likely accurate, as other titles have placeholders dates of December 3rd, 2023. They have previously dates including Darksiders 2 for Nintendo Switch. Now, as I said before, it is worth pointing out that nothing has been confirmed at this time. The developers haven't said anything yet. But if that is true, if what we're hearing is true though, then I think that's good that we finally have supposedly an actual launch date though. I do hope the game turns out very well and everything like that. Obviously, the developer's safety is absolute and takes priority over launching the video game. Don't get me wrong about that, though. But I do hope that the game is well worth the wait, especially what the developers had to go through and everything like that. The title still interests me, though. You definitely do get somewhat of a Metro vibe out of it to a certain degree. And of course, I'm sort of building up to that release by playing Chernobyl Light, which I think is somewhat of a Stalker vibe to the game to a certain degree. I did a review on that game, to be exact. So I'm hoping that date does hold, though. I would be more comfortable with an official confirmation, but I do hope this date truly holds, because this is definitely one of the games I'm looking forward to trying out when it becomes available on Game Pass and everything like that. So overall, I'm hoping this is an actual launch date for Stalker 2, though. Obviously, I understand a lot of people were waiting for the game, though, but given what the developers have been going through lately, though, you know, like I said before, their safety is priority over, you know, releasing the video game or anything like that. But I do hope this is either the official date or we at least get a confirmation on when it will be out, and I'm hoping this year and all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll get to part 2, and this one has to do with Starfield, including some questions from Starfield and Fallout fans in terms of, you know, at the time, if the game was going gold or not. And as it turns out to be, that is the case and everything like that. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of my My 2 Cent video for this week. And for this one, we're going to be taking a look at Starfield. Now, I'm sure most of you who have an Xbox Series X and S or PC are looking forward to picking up a brand new IP for Bethesda, which has been, you know, a long time coming and everything like that. Now, the game has seen some of its ups and downs, such as, you know, it was supposed to come out last year but got delayed and everything like that, to this year when they had their Starfield Direct following their Xbox showcase this year. And it definitely showed off more details in terms of everything from combat to gameplay to, you know, ship, space building and everything like that. To me, I am kind of still cautiously optimistic about Starfield, though. While it definitely looks interesting and I'm looking forward to trying it out on when it comes to Game Pass and everything like that, I'm still a little worried about the game, ranging from, you know, Bethesda's past history, ranging from Fallout 76 to its history of bugs and glitches, to especially what happened this year with Redfall, even though, which, you know, fell on Arcane, Bethesda, and even Microsoft to a certain degree, though. So obviously they need to somehow hit it out of the park with basically Starfield and all. Well, some questions were asked about the time, basically whether this game was going to get gold, or some people were a little bit worried, though. Now, obviously, it was announced that this game has already gotten gold, though. It was later revealed that you could start, you know, preloading it right now, but for those on Steam, you're going to have to wait until August 30th, though. But before that happened, though, there was certain questions being asked, and some of this was revealed on Pure Xbox when it was basically Pete Hines was asking questions about from Starfield to even the planned Xbox Series S and X upgrade for Fallout 4 and all. So in regards to the Fallout 4 situation, someone asked saying, any news on Fallout 4's next-gen update has been awful quiet for quite some time now, with nothing shared with the community. Pete Hines responded, don't know if you heard, but we are shipping a new game in 3 weeks. Bit of a priority. We will have an update. We will share it. Obviously, Starfield is their priority right now, though. Maybe we'll hear about the update following, you know, Starfield's release, though. But honestly, in my opinion, I mean, I'm not against updating Fallout 4, but to some extent, I feel like I already have the FPS boost mode on, especially playing it on my Series S, though, so I just don't feel it seems necessary for an upgrade, though. So I know some people may have a different view on it, but I just don't feel the absolute necessary upgrade or anything like that. But we'll see eventually when we'll hear about that. Now, when asked about when the game gone gold, which we know it has now, someone asked this question of, that's cool, but we want to know when the game is going to go gold and when it is the preload. We don't want to know about chairs. Cyberpunk did the same thing. He said, quote, take a deep breath. I have an amazing team. We know what we're doing. I mean, yes and no on that one, though. I mean, I understand why some people were asking this question during this time, though, because they were worried about this being another Cyberpunk 2077 type situation. In fact, there were rumors about one of the reasons for the game being delayed was handling this kind of situation. Plus, the worry about, you know, bugs and glitches that Bethesda was known for, which, while it might have been hilarious at the time when Fallout 76 came out, it wasn't, and that kind of opened up the door for a whole lot of criticism, to be exact, though. based on what they showed so far in terms of Starfield, it seems to be all right and everything like that. But we'll see what happens when the game officially launches. We know that you can preload it now on the Xbox Series S and X. We'll find out when the game comes out on September 9th whether or not basically how this game is going to look and feel. Though my fingers are crossed on this one. I'm still cautiously optimistic about this title, but I can understand why some people are a bit worried. And finally, we do also have some information as apparently there have released, certainly right now it seems, some lore leading up to what took place before the events of Starfield and where things stand right now. There is still questions about what happened to the Earth and everything like that, and there have been some wild speculations like the Earth maybe lie in ruins or something like that. So it's going to be very interesting once we dig deep into Starfield to see exactly what happened to it, how everything is going to play out and all. So I would say, do we think we know what they're doing? Yes and no to some degree, though. But there's no doubt Bethesda can make good games. But we also know that Bethesda has made questionable decisions in the past, though. But either way, we'll find out September 9th how Starfield is once we all get our hands on it, whether it's on the Xbox Series X and S or PC for that matter. So my fingers are crossed on it. I'm hoping it's a good game, but we'll find out on September 9th and all. So overall, though, obviously there were concerns if the game was going to go gold or not. We now know it has, though, and now we patiently wait to see patiently wait for September 9th to come out for us to finally get our hands on Starfield and see if it is well worth the wait or not. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll get to part 3, and this one has to do with the Baldur Gate 3 situation, ranging from somewhat of two controversies. One that has really caught a lot of attention, and another one that, in a way, kind of has flown under the radar to a certain degree, but still worth mentioning to a certain extent. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 3 of my True Scent video, and for this one we're going to be taking a look at Baldur's Gate 3 and somewhat of a controversy depending on how you want to look at it, though. Now, as some of you know, Baldur Gate 3 is currently out on PC, with supposedly a PS5 version that will be out in September, and an Xbox one based off for Xbox Series X and S, which unfortunately has been delayed due to supposedly having issues with co-op on the Series S, although supposedly Microsoft's team is currently working on that game. Well, either way, the game has certainly blew up online, especially on the PC, and it has done very well, to be exact, though. So much so that there have been many who have been pointing to the game's success as sort of setting the standards for RPGs or something like this. And this all has to do with a video IGN's Destin did, that I got a chance to watch that video, that he sort of pointed out why this game is certainly scaring developers and all to a certain degree, at least according to his view, though. A quick summary of it is on Kotaku, how they wrote. They said that, quote, "At the center of the debate is a video by IGN Director of Video Content Strategy Dennis Legary, if I'm saying the name correctly, claiming Baldur Gate 3 is causing some developers to panic. Published on August 10th, it positions the new hit PC game as an example of what fans should expect in terms of quality, creativity, and ambitions in the AAA gaming space. It already has over 1 million views on YouTube alone, sparking fierce reaction on either side of the conversation." The video focused on a Twitter thread by indie developer Xavier Nelson Jr., if I'm saying the name correctly, whose work includes games like Hyperdome Space Outlaws, Space Warlords, Oregon Trading Simulation, and the upcoming El Paso Elsewhere, perceivably urging fans not to treat Baldur Gates like it's the rule rather than the exception. This is not a baseline RPG. This is an anatomy, if he says it correctly. saying, quote, trying to do the same thing the same way, especially without the same advantage, could kill an entire group's studio cell. He also continued by saying that, quote, if we were to go as big or bigger with the next title, Larson's themselves could die. That's the risk rewards of mega games. We are an industry dangling an elephant over a cliff, pointing at one that doesn't collapse under their own weight as indictment to the ones that does. So it kind of has sparked this debate of whether or not it is basically, the baseline or sort of setting the standards or not. I'm not 100% sure if it sets any new standards or anything like that, although I like to say I'm not a game developer or anything like that. But I think Baldur Gate 3's success does show a couple of things, though. One, it does show that single-player games are still relevant despite this whole push of, it has to be multiplayer-only experience or anything like that. It also shows that it doesn't have any DRM or always online capability, and shows that your game can still succeed without that kind of a feature or anything like that, as we've seen with a lot of other high-profile so-called AAA studios try to push their AAA games with a always online or some sort of multiplayer type of component, though. And three, it also shows that you can make your game become successful with quality, value, and content, though. That your game doesn't always have to have, DLCs or anything like that. Not that I'm saying DLCs are bad. When they are done right, DLCs can be a good thing. See Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, for example, though. But I think the success of Baldur Gate 3 does show that you could do this stuff and make your game become extremely successful. That's the message I think I'm taking away with the success of Baldur's Gate 3, though. I think it shows that it definitely shows and does put a lot, I will say to some extent, does put a lot of these AAA studios to shame when a game like this doesn't have the always online or multiplayer yet can still do very well. At least that's my take of how I saw IGN's Destin when it came to this, though. So I think Baldur Gate 3, I think success shows you don't need to do this or that, though. I'm not sure if it sets the standards for video games or RPGs in general, but I think it shows what it can, how it is possible for your game to become a success. It kind of reminds me of the comment, I think it was back during when Patrick Swirling, who, if I'm saying the name correctly, who worked at EA, made the comment about, or someone who made the claim that single-player games are dead, but when you look at games like, like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, Mario Odyssey, and other first-person and other single-player experience games, or even Jedi Fallen Order for that matter. Those are single-player experience games, and those games continue to sell very well. So comments like that, they'll kind of fly in the face of these games that have sort of become like a huge success. So, excuse me, for me, I think the takeaway from Baldur Gate 3 success is that you don't have to always 100% always follow the norm. You don't have to do it like other AAA studios are doing it that way. You could still make your game a success and so forth. So that's, I think, the takeaway about this, though. Another thing, and this one's from The Gamer, and this one didn't really get a huge amount of attention, and I highly doubt it will, but I think what it shows is that the game Baldur Gate 3 definitely has a lot of, progressiveness stuff in it. It points out to, let me see, there's something right here. Okay, there we go. And the article from The Gamer is that Barbie and Baldur Gate 3 prove that go woke, go broke doesn't exist. And it shows basically pointing out the difference between it's what I consider the ridiculous boycott against Budweiser and Bud Light to the situation with the movie Barbie and Baldur's Gate 3, which points out that Baldur Gate 3 is progressive in lots of ways, including its trans-exclusive character creator, which allow players to pair any genitals with any voice and select from male, female, and non-binary gender opinions. It's simply open-minded about sexuality, with some male players expressing frustration that they can't prevent their male companions from hitting on them. Apparently, it's also possible to form a thrope with two of your companions. All this would make Ben Shapiro and his ilk seek, and yet it's one of the biggest games of the year, though. It points out, so what's the difference? Why did conservatives' outrage manage to hurt Bud Light but had no impact on Barbie or Baldur Gates 3? As much as go woke and go broke has become common wisdom among right-wingers, show progressives are only damaging in cases when products-based skew conservatism and where there are plentiful other opinions. So the fact that I think the article seems to point out that basically, despite the go woke, go broke thing, this did not impact Baldur Gates 3 from becoming a success, nor did it impact the movie Barbie, though. And honestly, even when Baldur Gates 3 came out, the woke card was never even brought up to me and anything like that. I looked at this like, oh, it's another video game. We'll see if this one does well or not, or anything like that. So, am I still looking forward to playing Baldur Gates 3? I might. I mean, I'm debating whether I should wait for the Xbox Series X and S, or basically, get it for the PS5. But one thing for certain is this. I don't buy the woke argument. I think it's a ridiculous argument. I look at it as nothing more than an excuse to try to turn attention away from other serious problems that exist, though. To me, I believe those who constantly play the woke card on a daily basis are just as bad as those who play the race card on situations that aren't really racist. So I don't view this as, I think the whole trying to play the woke card on Baldur Gates 3 is absolutely stupid and ridiculous. Obviously, this didn't cause as much as attention as the whole, is to set the standards or anything for video games, but it is something worth pointing out. So overall, I think despite some of these controversy or the debates about basically the games or anything like that, Baldur Gates 3 is still doing well. I'm not sure if it will set the standards for what video games are, but I think it does show that you don't have to always follow what AAA developers are doing, and you could still make your game a success and all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to our fourth and final part of our My Two Cent video, and this one has to do with Dead Island 2 and the possibility that it could be coming to another platform. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our fourth and final part of our My Two Cent video for this week. And for this one, we're going to be taking a look at an interesting report that's come out about Dead Island 2 might be coming to other platforms. Now, obviously, Dead Island 2 has been in development hell for quite some time. I remember, I think it was back in 2014, it was announced and then we finally got the game coming out this year, though, and surprisingly the game has done well in terms of sales wise, and it seemed to have done well in terms of the reviews and all. And I'm still currently playing the game, especially on my Xbox Series S. Well, recently there seems to be a report indicating that it could be coming to another platform. Now, it doesn't say which platform it is, but it kind of gives some hope for possibly maybe coming to a Nintendo platform, though that remains to be seen at this time. In an article from Video Game Chronicles, it reads that, quote, Dead Island 2 is scheduled for release on an unspecific platform in the coming years. That's according to Embracer Group's CEO, Embracer Group CEO, who was discussing the performance of the game and its future prospect during the company's quarter's earnings call on Thursday. First announced in 2014, the zombie action RPG suffered a series of delays and change in developers during a turbulent production cycle, though. Dan Busters, an internal Deep Silver studio, took over development in 2019, and the game was finally released in April for PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and PC via the Epic Game Store. Dead Island 2 exceeded expectations at launch, selling 1 million copies in 3 days and 2 million in its first month, according to Embracer. I think Dead Island has a real strong release window. Then we have been seeing more normal performance according to expectations, the CEO said. What we now expect, obviously, is promotions, but primarily the addition of new content coming through. So there is a significant amount of content coming through for the game in the year that will improve the sales of the base game as well. Then looking a year ahead, we will release it on another platform that will also drive multiple sales, though. While the CEO didn't elaborate the future release plans, he may have been referring to plans to bring it to PC version of the game to Steam. It's also possible it could come to the Nintendo system, either Switch or successor, which is expected to launch in the second half of 2024. VGC has contacted publishers Deep Silver for comment. 2 Dead Island 2 story expansions are in the works. The first one, House, will arrive in the fourth quarter of 2023, while the second, Solfa Festival, following in the second quarter of 2024. Both are included in the game's $30 expansion pass. So in terms of what it could be referring to, I mean, obviously, as the article mentioned, there could be several ways, though. I would say the most likely scenario is that they probably are referring to bringing it to the Steam, those who are PC gamers, they're probably thinking about bringing this to Steam. As far as bringing it to the Nintendo Switch or the Switch successor, I would say that's certainly not out of the realm of possibility. I do think that it is possible they could bring this to Nintendo Switch or Switch successor, to be exact, though. I mean, would it be difficult to bring it to the Switch? It might be, though. They may have to rework some certain things, though, but we've seen impossible ports come to the Nintendo Switch. Although, to be honest, if Dead Island were to come to the Nintendo Switch, I'm thinking more on the likelihood that it would be more like the first Dead Island and Dead Island Riptide, though, if I'm saying the name correctly, to be exact. However, I could foresee a scenario where Dead Island 2 could make its way over to whatever this Switch successor is, or Switch 2 as some might be calling it, though. I could see something like that happening, although some of that will depend on just how powerful as this depends on how powerful this Switch successor might be. So, I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility it could come to Nintendo's platform. We've seen games unexpectedly make their way over to Nintendo's platform. So, and THQ Nordic has been very supportive of the Switch. They've put a lot of games on there, not all of their games, but we have seen a lot of their games make their way onto the Nintendo Switch. So it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility we could see Dead Island 2 make its way over to a Nintendo platform. But I'm kind of leaning towards the most likely scenario could be they could be referring to it, bringing it to the PC, to Steam users, to be exact. But time will ultimately tell. We'll see whether we hear anything in the foreseeable future or not. Maybe they'll drop a hint. Maybe there are rumors about a Nintendo Direct in September. Maybe that's a possibility. I think it's unlikely, but it's not certainly not out of the realm of possibility. So overall, obviously, THQ Nordic and Embracer Group are happy with Dead Island 2. As far as what platform they might be bringing it to, or this unspecific platform, I'm leaning towards it being PC via Steam, but it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility that Dead Island 2 could make its way to the Switch or the Switch successor and all. Okay, this concludes this My 2 Cent video for this week. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about the possibility of a release date for Stalker 2? Do you think the December 1st release date is accurate? Do you think they'll announce a different release date? And are you hoping this game is released before the end of 2023? Or do you expect it will be pushed into 2024 and possibly beyond? What are your thoughts about some of the comments about Starfield in terms of consumers or fans being concerned? Do you think they had a right to be concerned about Starfield, about at the time not going gold until they officially announced it at all? Are you looking forward to playing Starfield when it comes out on September 9th? Do you think we'll learn about Earth's fate and what happened to the Earth in Starfield once the game comes out, though? What are your thoughts about the whole Baldur's Gate 3 controversy, though? Do you think that the success of Baldur's Gate 3 sets a standards for RPGs and video games? Or do you think it's more just like highlighting that how a game could be successful without relying on the whole, like the situation or stuff that we've seen from AAA developers like microtransaction, loot boxes, always online, and that kind of stuff? And what are your thoughts about Dead Island 2 coming to an unspecific platform? Do you think that they are referring to bringing it to Steam for PC users, or do you think that they might be referring to bringing it to the Nintendo Switch or possibly the Switch successor? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you do like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, excuse me. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal me or Patreon or Steam Labs. Links will be in the description of this video, assuming you're watching this on YouTube. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye.